by Sanchez, seconded by Tanksley. All in favor?
Aye.
That is at 7:06. There was no action taken in closed session. A report of this meeting is, or a recording of this meeting is being made and shall be kept for 30 days as public record. Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Roll call. I am here. Yolanda Saxby is here. Larry Tanksley is here. Jim Bender is absent. Carl Robinson is here. And Dwayne Moore is here. And we have Isabel.
Here.
I'll accept the motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Sanchez, seconded by
Second.
Robinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any
No comments.
no comments from the public? We'll dispense with the verbiage. Does student reports?
Today was the end of the first semester. We survived. For sports, boys and girls basketball teams have been playing hard in preseason games. Camp Keep. There is still spots open for 6th graders to sign up to attend. Camp Keep is July 13th through July 17th.
January.
January. Robotics. There were no updates until second semester. Cadet Corps. Basic command training will happen in January, drill competition and cadet ball in February. That's all for now. I want to end by wishing the school board, staff, and students happy and safe holiday season.
Thank you.
For me tonight, all I have is that finals week was this week. It took us a while. We barely figured the schedule out Tuesday morning. But other than that, the last 2 weeks were kind of dead. Kids were in motion students were in motion for finals and studying, and it's pretty quiet usually, so that's it.
What about the soccer team?
I haven't went to any of the games yet, so I don't
We
know.
in
Okay. That's, I don't even have an
the
update.
boys?
Oh, boys?
Boys 3-0?
What about the girls?
Not sure. I think they lost the first one. And I'm not sure how to do the other. I'm looking at Larry like, I went to basketball.
Is it on the website? Is it on the website?
Okay. No showcase today. We have no RTA. And CSEA?
I'll just hang out here.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. So we had our Christmas party yesterday, which was nice. You know, we got to go out to coaches. It was good. A lot of people showed up. Still had a bunch of food extra, which is nice. Overall, there's not too much going on. We should have negotiations coming up pretty soon. It's going to be kind of like back-to-back negotiations, because once we wrap that up, we got to kind of step right back into it, which should be fine. It shouldn't be anything too major, like I've said before. There have been, just a few little kind of like issues with CSEA, but looks like the district's working on that, trying to figure out, a good solid solution to all of this like early release and comp time sort of thing. But hopefully you guys, are discussing that and come up with a good solution. I sent out an email today if you guys want to discuss it with some of the CSEA too. That way we could come up with a good, fair, equal thing for everybody, as it should be. I don't think the contract should be something that's totally confusing and could be used in several different ways. you know? It should be clear, cut, so everybody understands, nice and clear, right? And so that's something that I hope that we could, you know, fix in negotiations. We will have a new e-board starting in January. I will start being the president, which, you know, I still feel as green as Nat's shirt right here. But I'm gonna do my best for everybody. And then we'll have a new treasurer and a new reporter, which I'm looking forward to, because within our union, we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people, which is their more comfortable primary language, and we will now have a Spanish-speaking reporter, which is fantastic. So hopefully we could get more information to people in a better format for them. So I'm really happy for that. Aside from that, things are good. The district is improving a lot, and we're happy about that, and we're happy to be here and help us improve even more. So everybody, I hope you enjoy your break. Thank you for being here and doing diligent work in the betterment of the district for our students. All right, thank you.
CDO.
Good evening. This week has been largely consumed with compiling and finalizing the first interim budget report. But you know, in the business office, it's always the mad dash to the end of the year for especially payroll. She's been consumed with trying to not only make sure payroll is completed on time and ready to go and submitted to the county by their deadlines, but also to make sure that she's auditing all the papers that are submitted during the most recent pay period. She does an exceptional job. I'm really pleased to have Joanna Herrera on our team. And you know, when one person in the business office gets bogged down, it's really amazing to see, without management interfering, they help each other. So they're a well-functioning team that I'm proud to have supporting me.
Associate Superintendent, Ms. Harris.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. We are all looking forward to our Christmas break. Hope that you all have a great time. Before we go off on break, Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be having a professional development, and we're going to be offering Capturing Kids' Hearts, and it'll be at West Park. So we have about 55 staff that are signed up for that, so that's exciting that people are willing to give up that time to be able to learn how to build those relationships with themselves and the students. So we're looking forward to having those 2 days. And I hope that everybody has a great holiday break.
Thank you. Superintendent's report. Ms. Gaines.
Thank you. I want to publicly thank all of our staff members who attended our crisis intervention training last Friday evening. It was great to see everybody come out. It was about a 3-hour training. I think that you can never prepare enough for such an event, such as a shooter on campus. And I also want to thank Deputy Dale Lovick and Julie Farabee, who provided us that initial training for the district and also for all of our sites. And we look forward to them coming back. He's very excited to come back. We're going to be running some 2 drills this January when we return at each of our sites. One will be a lockout drill and the other will be a lockdown drill. So I look forward to the role that the district office will play in each one of those drills. And I too want to wish everyone a wonderful and safe holiday season. I know the first semester, it's always nice when the first semester comes to an end and grades are done and just kind of a little time to breathe. And so everybody has certainly worked very hard this first semester. And Gary, I just want to congratulate you on your new CSEA position as the president. I look forward to a couple more of those 2-hour meetings that we've had, but they were very cordial, and look forward to working with you at the negotiation table as well. Thank you.
Communication. Another?
Just
just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. It's really exciting to get to this point at the holiday time, this Christmas time. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a safe holiday New Year's. Don't drink too much and drive. So, get an Uber or somebody else there. So, and again, just have a safe New Year's. Merry Christmas.
Just asking if we have any. I didn't know if we did. Good, okay. I didn't know. Carol?
Welcome, everyone. I don't know if you like the snow or not, but I stayed inside the entire time. But anyway, glad we survived that with just enough snow to have some fun. And then, so I wanted to let you know that I am very pleased with the direction that the school district is going. The budget is doing well. We hope to hear a report on that, but and our leadership is really tackling the problems and issues, and her door is always open. So if you have anything that you want to address, make sure that you see her, because she will take care of it. So I had the privilege of attending the last Capturing Kids' Hearts training, and I'll probably drop in on the one that's coming up to see, who's there, and just to peek in, because I've already done the training. I also went to the Shooter on Campus training. It was very enlightening. Oh my goodness, all the things that have to be done. It will take a lot of training, and I hope that you all cooperate with the training and find out what your role is, and get an idea of where everybody's going to be, or who's going to be in charge of what, who do you call, that kind of thing. And I also popped in on the intervention to try to catch those kids that are starting to fall behind, but without classifying them as special ed. So I just am happy to see all these good things going on and still be able to, help our budget. So thank you all.
Well, thank everybody for coming out, giving up their Friday evening. That's true dedication. Nat, when we adjourn, if you'll just yell Santa for me.
Santa.
On your shirt and that. And also, everybody have a great holiday season. Once again, be safe, don't drink and drive, do all that good stuff. And a safe trip for you back, or a visitor from the county.
That's it. Okay. First thing, I'd like to apologize for having this meeting on a Friday. Not in my favor. But somebody higher up changed the rules, so now we have to have it on Friday. Until I'm happy about this. But thank you for coming anyway. Just I want everybody to have a joyous holiday, and Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Enjoy family. Hopefully we'll have family coming in. Everybody will. So it's a joyous time of year. Enjoy it. And I look forward to our budget presentation. Okay, now, the Board of Trustees have to reorganize our table up here. I need a motion for who will be nominated for president. Anyone?
Make a motion to nominate Ms. Sanchez.
Okay. DeSanchez has been nominated. I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Would you accept?
I was waiting for it to ask.
I gotta ask. So, we now have Ms. Sanchez. Mrs. Sanchez. Nomination for Vice President. I'd like to nominate Larry Tansley.
I will second that.
Mr. Tansley, would you take that?
Sure.
Okay, so we have Sanchez. Where's Gutierrez and Sanchez? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Gotta say aye. Clerk of the board? Ms. Robinson, would you accept if I nominate you?
Yes, I will.
I will make the nomination for Ms. Robinson.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Tansley. All in favor? Aye. County representative, that you kind of go everywhere. I've done it in the past. I'm always at the Lancaster ones. I can't always make it to the Bakersfield ones because Bakersfield starts so early that I have to leave half of my day at work. So if somebody wants to take that, that would be great.
What do you have to do for that?
Be our
Just
representative
go to meetings?
at different meetings
And report? Yes.
and pretty much bring back what you hear and bring it back to the board. Would you like to do
I
that?
can do that.
In that case, I will nominate Ms. Robinson as our representative.
I second
Seconded by Sanchez. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now that we've got that portion done, I turn over my gavel to Ms. Sanchez.
Subcommittee assignments.
it.
Or you want me to finish up?
Yeah, why don't you finish it? It'll be your last one for the day, for the year.
Okay. Approve the 2020 proposed school or board meeting calendar dates. Do we have any?
On page 6 in your packet.
I do have a question on July 21st, 2020. That's on a Tuesday,
Which one?
July 21st.
The one in July, a lot of times we have to move around because everybody's running around on vacations.
So do we
But,
want to
hang on a second.
just
let me
correct it to
count
the
here.
22nd?
What page is it?
6.
Six.
6, I thought you said 16.
Okay. I'm sure, July 21st, it should be, probably the
Should be the-
22nd, it should be the 22nd.
It should be the 22nd.
Okay.
Now, I will be gone that whole week. I will be gone from the 22nd to the 30th.
said, so we'll leave it on
Maybe
21st.
that's
so
why
you
we
can
put it
join
on the
us.
21st.
Is that why?
That could have
Is
been.
that, is that why we put it?
Just saying.
If you guys want to do it on the 21st,
This is on a Tuesday.
that would be up to the rest of you. Or I can just miss that meeting. That's,
So this is just a mistake, right? Reason for not.
All right, so we'll just keep it as it is.
keep it on
Yeah,
on the
no
21st?
changes.
It's gonna stay
Okay.
on 21st.
Okay, it doesn't matter to
We're gonna
me
leave it
because
on.
I don't do anything.
So it's pretty.
And if, we can always make an adjustment when we get closer to that date, if we have to.
And then also on June 3rd, there's a board meeting at 2020
Yeah, we'll have to change that because we have graduations,
promotions.
promotions on those dates.
Well, it's not
We
until,
have promotions on June 3rd at Tropico Middle School at 5 and at 7.
Right, so
Yes.
that one will have to be moved,
June 3rd?
June 3rd.
Yes.
okay.
So let's, can we cancel that date? And depending on what we have, we can call for a meeting the following week if there is stuff that absolutely has to
On
be
the
taken care
10th?
of.
Sure, absolutely.
So we're gonna, at this point, we're just gonna eliminate June 3rd.
And tentatively put it on the 10th?
Tentative, we'll have to address that, we can do that at the May 6th or the May 20th meeting, and replace it on the calendar for whatever date needs. If there's stuff that actually has to get done, we can actually move it. Because the week of the, between the 1st and the 5th, we're gonna be busy with promotions and graduations, and
Right.
everybody will be chaos.
We'll come back those days, because we may need to even take the June back a little further, because we have to have board approval in June on it and the LPAP. So it may,
But it'll work out on the 10th.
yeah, it could be June 10th and the following Wednesday after June
17th.
17th.
24th.
Okay.
And we might have to do something like that in June.
So you want to just go ahead and put it on the calendar for June 10th?
No, we'll cancel the June 3rd.
Right.
And then-
we're gonna June 10th?
Yes.
Okay.
And then possibly the next one would be June 24th.
Yes, June 24th is 2020.
Because we have to have time between the public hearing and when we approve the LCAP.
So we have to have a 2-week period between?
Well, it only has to be a week, but we have to have a time period in between. So we want
Okay.
to make sure that we have that.
So you want to move the 17th to the 20?
No, keep the 17th, add the 24th, right?
I don't think we need 3 meetings that month. Is a week in between enough, or will we?
A week in between is
Sufficient?
sufficient.
Okay, let's do June.
But we would need 2 meetings.
Okay, let's do June 10th and June 17th then.
Okay.
24th, not the 24th anymore. We don't need all 3 of them. Let's keep the 17th and move June 3rd to June 10th.
Then I will make a motion to accept the calendar with the new changes.
Second.
Motion by Gutierrez, seconded by Robinson. All in favor?
Aye.
One absent. Board subcommittees for 2020. Budget, I would like to be on that.
As well.
You want me to? Tanksley would also be on it? Board policies, who wants to be on that?
I'll be on the board policy.
I can be on the board policies too.
How about curriculum? Everybody jump at once.
Oh, I want to be on curriculum. Thank you.
I'll be on curriculum, so.
Yeah, you don't want to be on curriculum.
I don't want to be on athletics.
What's that?
Can we just nominate Bender, is that him, or?
Well, we'll have to put him on something.
Okay,
Because,
put him on,
He
yeah.
is
okay,
currently
Bender on athletics?
Yes.
And I'll go on with
And
I definitely want to be on projects and planning. Do as well. Discipline review. You know what? I think Jim should be on there.
Me and Jim.
Okay.
what do they do? They set up.
You got to review the matrix and meet with all the principals, make sure everybody's following the matrix and what stuff.
New stuff
That-
that comes out.
Come on, help me out here.
The new items, new laws that come out,
Say that again?
the new discipline laws that apply or whatever. Ed code.
Uh-huh.
For discipline, on the discipline committee.
I can do that.
Oh, you're good. You're gonna be there anyway. You're a principal.
I know.
But she wanted to know what actually has to be involved in it.
I just didn't
We'll figure
know
it
that
out.
was.
I'm not
We
sure
got it.
what would be involved in
Okay, I'm
that.
gonna put Silver on there. He was our last one. Who wants to be on calendar committee?
I'll be on calendar.
And you, Paul?
Yeah, I'll do calendar again too.
Is that it?
Okay, let's see, how many you got, Rob? 2. Okay, that'll give you 3.
Tank, are you doing discipline?
Yes. And info on technology. And technology? Who wants to be on that?
Bender? He said because he's
Poor
not here.
guy.
Bender?
We're gonna put him on there.
What he gets first.
Andrew.
I know, I'm gonna get all the,
Yeah.
All of us get 3 and then we'll get school. I'll take it.
You want to be on technology?
Dan's got it.
I just said, yeah,
I'll take the 4. Does everybody else got 3?
pretty much. Yes. Get all those 7? Consent items. Does anybody have any questions on the?
Yeah, I do.
There you go.
Graduation dates. The high school, we took that day off because of all the problems that were happening and all that.
Mhm.
So
What kind of problem?
the school rumors
Because
and school
the
shootings and all
school
that.
was
Oh,
closed.
yeah, oh, for the.
So we took Thursday off. So I just wanna know, like, we have that weather day, so are we gonna like have an extra day of school to make up for that lost day?
Yes.
Yes.
So that would be the 4th, right, in
Yes.
June?
Yes.
So we're gonna graduate that night?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
Only the seniors.
Well, I get, but what if some people, like most teachers, and what if they leave the 4th? Because we thought it was already after school.
The teachers, the
Yeah, like-
teachers cannot.
Oh, they're not?
No,
Okay,
they're
well,
contractual.
Well, if you're a senior and you've already checked out and everything, I can't say you're not supposed to be at school. But if you happen to miss that day, it would not be counted against you.
But you wouldn't be able to go to graduation. if you
Yeah.
had to leave. There's nothing
Ma'am,
you
can
can
you
do.
explain that?
I'm not sure, Dwayne, could you repeat what you're
So
asking?
what I'm
me?
saying
not
is,
sure.
Now, June 4th,
Yeah.
since we've started school and since the end of last school year, June 4th was already, like, we were out of school then with summer break.
Right.
So what if some students have already planned to leave, they're already leaving the 4th that morning or something like that because they thought it was the last day of school? It's like, that wasn't our last day of school.
He already has plans, is
So,
what he's saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could just say I'm very sorry about that, but graduation had to be moved to June 4th.
Well, I'm fine with that. Well, I'll be there.
Okay.
Don't gotta worry about that. But-
He's looking out for his fellow classmates, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Well, we couldn't avoid.
The inclement weather days were on the backside anyway.
Right.
On the
Yes.
calendar.
They were already built in.
yeah, for the 4th and 5th, which is Thursday, Friday.
We're only asking the 4th
Okay.
as of now. Hopefully we won't need the
We're not
5th.
gonna need to go.
If we get
That's
hit,
2 extra days.
if we get hit by a tornado or something, we might have to.
I made it this far. I'm fine with the 4th.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any other questions?
You're sorry, you're gonna have to field all those complaints from the students.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is. So,
Okay, I need a motion to.
So I have a question on the letter E, the authorization to attend the physical professional development conference. If you look on the date on there, the first one is January 2020. On page 16, it has the year 19, it doesn't have the 2020 for those 2 days.
So it was a typo.
Well, I don't know, because even the dates are gonna run into the weekend. So the dates, those are not correct dates for, right? For those training days. Page 16. What page, 16? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. For the English conference.
The English, yeah, that conference, and then the other one too.
Right.
The career conference.
Yeah, that is a typo. That is 2020.
So would it be those same dates then? Because I think one of them's on a Sunday. Are they gonna be in class?
I believe they are. I can confirm the dates and proceed to bring them back or send them out to Superintendent Gaines in an update to the board. The 2019 is a typo. This conference, though, I believe does run over the weekend.
Okay, yeah, one of them is Wednesday through Saturday, and the other one's 20 to 23, yeah, that one's Thursday through Sunday. Does that possibly be? Okay.
Yeah, either could be right. What I'll do is I'll find out the dates and pass them on to Superintendent Gaines to share.
And I'm kind of concerned with Paul Eisenzimmer. He's going to be attending February 17th through the 22nd, the advanced composite manufacturing. And then he's going to go again the same month on the 26th to the 29th.
It's required for him to go or we gotta pay back grant money.
Okay, that's what I need to know. I'm just questioning, that's what I need to know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was just like, you
That one I
know.
did know, because I had to sit down with him.
Okay, that's good. I just thought, well, anyways, either pay for the 7 or that's all. That's good. Okay. And
Okay.
then I do have a question on G for the cash donation. Dwayne, did you get that for us, or I know you signed off on it? The $200 for the Roseman High School boys basketball?
I remember it. I remember talking over it in class.
Okay. I didn't know he signed for it, so I just want to say thank you if you did. We're the
Yeah, we
person
did,
that-
yeah.
You went and asked for the donation?
No, the Melchers, they came to us and asked if they could donate $200.
Oh, okay.
The construction,
Oh, okay.
and I told them, yeah, fill out a form, they
Oh,
did,
okay.
and we accepted it from there.
Oh, okay, I thought you actually went out and
Oh, no, no.
doing the donation. I was gonna congratulate you on
But-
that.
I can.
He'll accept that.
Yes, I will.
I'll go get donations.
No.
He's accepting donations for college as we do.
And then I have a question on the letter I for Mr. Mike Oldford. So is he only gonna do the assessments for now, or is he gonna do counseling too?
No, I believe he's coming out of retirement to help.
Right, I
help us
saw
out.
that. Okay, so is it because we don't have enough psychologists to do the testing, or is he gonna be the only psychologist doing the
No,
testing?
they're just a little backlogged. They had someone that has been very ill.
Oh, okay.
So he's kind of helping out in that place.
Oh, okay, so that's why we have him come in. Okay. That's it.
Make a motion to approve consent items A through K.
I'll second it.
Second by Sanchez, all in favor?
Aye.
Student?
Aye.
Accept adjustment to any hourly rate that is below minimum wage for the new minimum wage effective January 1st, 2020. Ms. Gaines?
Yes, sir. This will apply to any of our classified employees who are currently receiving an hourly wage of under $15. The new rate goes into effect January 1st. This is California law, so that we must comply with this. We have no option not to. So this will primarily impact CSOs, avid tutors, and that's pretty much it.
Do we have a number
Sorry, a number,
of how many are below
how many
minimum
affected
wage?
staff?
Yeah.
There's three. And
There's
kitchen,
one.
2 kitchen personnel and one CSO.
So the impact is minimal.
SRO, sorry.
So the impact is very minimal. Okay.
It's just step one of the salary schedule, essentially that is falling below the minimum wage. So it is better. No, most of our staff are not new to the district, so we don't have a high turnover across the next.
Should we make a motion to accept that? Is that a motion? Seconded by Tanksley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Two? Approve the following list of personnel items. Anybody have any questions on personnel? And if there's no questions, I will make a
So,
motion to.
Except that these two paraeducators are just switching positions?
Correct.
Switching sites, yes.
Okay.
So one went to Westport and one went to RHS?
Yeah, they're just switching
The
schools.
first part of the, is where they work, the second one is where they're going,
Well,
correct?
it's
No,
it's the other way
because
around.
Leah Melchers is at RHS.
Okay, so then it's the other way around. Okay, well, I thought it was the other way.
Okay, I move that we accept the classified confidential of the personnel items.
Motion by Robinson, seconded by me. All in favor?
Aye.
Student?
Aye.
Approve district's initial proposal for negotiation during the renewal process of the current CSEA collective bargaining agreement of 2017 through 2020.
Yes, sir. Board members, you've received a copy of the district's reopeners. We are opening with primarily with Article 5 and 7, and we've also included Article 3 and 4, which CSEA has on their proposal.
So basically, we are approving to negotiate those items. Okay. Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for negotiations with CSEA.
Second.
Motion by Sanchez, seconded by Tanksley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. interim report. Now it comes along.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to present you the first interim report for this year. I am pleased to say that working through this with the county office, you're going to hear a story tonight that's very much in line with the story you've been hearing all along. We still have the unfortunate news that we're presenting a negative budget certification, but as we look toward the end of the report here at the out years of the budget prediction, we begin to see the district is quickly moving toward recovery. So overall, I would say good news. The first interim budget is a date-specific required increment of the budget cycle in California. So numbers you'll see here tonight are as of October 31st. The best information that we had as of the October 31st. And we look toward second interim and the budget revision cycle there to complete the process of any sort of updates that might be related to adjustments in grants and items like that at second interim. And I will, at some point, most likely bring to you any sort of major shifts that happen in the budget between interim cycles. I would like it to be my practice to bring it to you for interim budget adjustments, which is allowable. County office has suggested that there's sort of a 50-50 split between the way districts do that or choose to wait until the interim cycles to do it. These are the things that popped up in between our production of these reports. I think especially right now, given where we are fiscally, and as we're moving through our recovery, for transparency, these kinds of adjustments would be best for sharing in terms of developing community comfort, board comfort, and keeping us current rather than waiting for another quarter to pass as we go through that. I apologize for this slide. I'm going to skip it. And so here we have revenues and expenditures. It's the same information. It's a little more visible. If you would like to look in your budget book, this information is in the budget book on the 8th page. What we see here is a budget at the interim adjustment that looks very much like the budget at budget adoption on June 30th. We're not seeing significant swings in any given line, though it is typical for this budget adjustment to be, for the first interim budget adjustment to always reflect some significant swings. The budget in June is often adopted prior to state adoption, though that's not supposed to happen. And so you can see some significant swings in revenue predictions based on that. We don't have that this year, which is nice. The kinds of swings that you see in this budget between the original budget and the one labeled board-approved operating budget are reflected simply to tightening up some of the data in our account. I believe we reported in the earlier transmittal to the board, but you'll be hearing about it again when we have the audit report next month. There were some findings in our accounting state of ADA that were in our favor, and so partially this uptick in state aid is due to the fact that we filed an adjustment to the final ADA report for last year. Federal revenues, that's a bit of cleanup there, nothing significant, no loss of revenue sources, simply more accurately reporting and predicting budget. We take those federal numbers from the state, and as they update ADA numbers and actual funding rates for each program covered by federal revenues. They adjust those over time. Other local revenues, you see an increase there, and that is largely due to the receipt of a grant that was not previously included in the budget. On the expenditure side, it's common to see, as we do here, some swings in the expenditures due to the fact that as we're developing the budget, we're using either staffing in place during the previous year or an expenditure plug for the average cost of a likely new hire. But in a case where we know that the position is vacant or being vacated or new, we try to fill that with our best estimate, and that's never the dollar figure at the lowest end of the salary schedule. And so we try to be conservative and budget not at the top of the salary schedule, but somewhere on average in the middle, which is reflected in recent hiring. Overall, certificated salaries are down, classified salaries are up. We see a significant leveling off of employee benefits. It's good to have a cap on employee benefits. It makes that a simpler process to budget and reconcile in the end. The work here in proofing not only the June 30 budget, but in confirming the numbers for any changes that have happened since, was done largely in position control. It's a powerful tool. Joint effort between Human Resources and I, which is nice, that there is a double check on the work that we're doing. So I think overall we have good confidence in not only the numbers that we're in at first interim, but we have, budget adoption, but the numbers at first interim have done two things in terms of reallocating to better funding sources within the general fund, and also updating with the new hires that have happened, or people who have changed allocations or elections for other benefits that may increase or decrease prices slightly. In the process of developing the budget, we're considering where we are, we're looking toward the ending fund balance, and that's our key metric. And so this presentation is heavily focused on looking at where we're predicting we're going to be and making sure that we're telling the same story that we've always told, that we're confirming that our philosophy of business practices remains the way we told you. So what you see reflected in the interim and the multi-year coming up is a continued effort to remain fiscally conservative in both our budgeting strategies and assumptions, but also in our practice on a day-to-day basis when requests for spending come into the district office. We're looking closely at all of them and not assuming because there might be surplus in one given area of the budget as we're improving, so that money is going to be best spent on a current desire against when weighing that against building future fiscal stability. So you see here transfer out, just to clarify that, transfers out of the unrestricted general fund and into the restricted general fund represent the need for the district to cover programs that are typically funded heavily or almost the majority of those programs are covered by restricted funds. Some of those programs do not have sufficient funding from other sources, and so they're supplemented by the general fund. I will say tonight that I avoid using the word encroach. That's a common word. Encroachment is a commonly used word, so that may be what you're familiar with. I like to say we enhance these programs and we support these programs to make sure that we're doing what's right for children to the best of our ability. So as we're looking at this year, we were projecting a slight increase or a slight decrease in fund balance. I apologize for the brackets in a second. So it's not a negative, it's a one negative. We continue to have a net decrease in fund balance, and it does impact the ending balance overall. Apologize. This is completely backwards. So the line said net decrease in fund balance. In the original budget, we were projecting $62,000 increase. Here, that number should be positive and should reflect improvement, and therefore we are returning from this to the ending fund balance. This is the year over year. It's very summarized. If you look at the very beginning of the report, that is where I've pulled to the front of the report the multi-year projection, and so you can see the year over year comparison. If you check at the top of the page, there's a heading in the title section that shows combined unrestricted and restricted. That's what we're speaking to here. If you go behind that, there's restricted and unrestricted. So if you happen to be on one of those pages, the numbers won't align. The beginning balance for the current fiscal year, we are now predicting at this $3.36 million deficit. That's not new news, but as you know, we've been making good progress in terms of not only holding tight to the budget, but also exceeding pace in terms of cash in the district. And so we have done a significant amount of payment to repay the loan from the county office. And we continue to think that we will have adequate resources coming in to be able to stay on pace and be paying that loan back to the county office as expected. So our revenues are up, expenditures are down. That has improved our overall expected increase or decrease to the fund balance. And so you see we are able to show a positive ending fund balance in this current year, which is a good shift. We are still negative, and just to be clear about why we're negative, we're not able to meet that 3% reserve requirement. And we will have many conversations in future months about what the correct ending fund balance is. In order to get to positive, our minimum right now is to repay the county loan and get to that 3% threshold established for this size of a district by the state. The most important thing that I can say here is this is really great news to look to the third year of this budget projection and be almost at an 18% ending fund balance, which could potentially be set aside for our reserve for economic uncertainty, or a combination of other things, whether it's reserve for economic uncertainty or used as one-time funds for things that have gone yet unmet, and the needs that have gone yet unmet in the district that are indeed one-time costs. I think it's always important to remind people that ending fund balance is a one-time source of funds, not to be used for things that eat. And as we look to the third year, while that looks extremely positive and I'm excited and I don't want to be overly optimistic, third year is obviously the most vulnerable year in our model, which is true of any sort of model, but the largest threat would be what will happen to the economy. We have a friendly administration right now, a friendly legislature right now, who's being very supportive of education, so our horizon looks very positive at the moment. This is just another presentation of the same information to look at it a different way. This is the sheet that just ends the presentation. To review that we're negative this year, I wanted to emphasize the fact that that's what we're asking for the certification for. The positives in the out years are not unimportant or insignificant, but overall, if there was a negative in any column, we would be looking at a negative certification. And so to be clear, until some point during next fiscal year, we will continue to file a negative certification. So second interim, budget adoption, first interim, obviously if things significantly changed for the good, that could move things back at this point, but that's what we're expecting to see negative. We're expecting to see full repayment in the second year of this prediction to the county office for the loan that we've taken. So both hurdles should be met. Thank you to you. We will work to timeline production of the budget book. I have nothing but thanks and gratitude to the county office for supporting me through the process. Tirelessly walking me through the software use needed to get this information from our accounting system, developed in our accounting system, and then exported into the state reporting software, the SAC software. And we've come together with a report that we think reflects what we both believe is accurate prediction for not only this year, but for the 2 years. And with that, I would turn it over to you. We have a number of next steps to pull together, getting our budget committee up and running. Given where we were, it wasn't necessarily practical to reduce people's time this year, but I think it's extremely important that we have that committee functioning. So for second interim, we'll be working with Superintendent Gaines to pull together when those meetings will be and how board representatives would like them to look. I'm happy to entertain any questions.
What are some credible things that could happen to change that second and third year out to lower those numbers?
To have a negative impact on
Yes.
the budget overall? Well, for example, the budget has been built on an assumption of flat enrollment, or flat ADA. I consider that a conservative estimate at this point, because we actually think we're experiencing a period of
Right.
growth. We don't have a solid demographic study that looks at projecting enrollment over time. That's one of the things that I would like to look at pursuing in the coming months. It's a good tool to sort of be a second check to an ongoing tool that I use, which is it's a forecasting tool built on just simply the historical data of enrollment patterns and the percentage of average daily attendance in the district, the cohort survival method. What a firm that specializes in this will do is far more extensive. They will look at historical trends related to development, for example. We know there's a lot of construction going on around here. I wouldn't want to try to estimate what future enrollment because of that development would be. We need to be careful and not assume that it's going to be a boom for the district. So we're not putting in inflation factors for that at this point. Other things that could happen if the economy could go south. We all remember the not so long ago fiscal crisis that happened in California, and that was a huge downturn in spending in public education. Other things that can happen, while we are a significant, our budget is of significant scale, it's not huge, and so sometimes large costs come unexpectedly, whether those are facilities related or student related. Some students come with significant costs, and we can't predict for those students. Yet we need to meet their needs as a public school district. It allows us flexibility to be able to do that, and that points to the importance of having a healthy ending fund balance. I don't like to say I'm a proponent of having an excessive ending fund balance, because I do believe today's dollars should be for today's kids. But to the extent that we have a fund balance that allows us in the short term to adjust to any unforeseen developments, that puts us in a better place. It gives us time to think through any reductions that might be necessary. And staff and the community feel that there's opportunity for change. Rather than add new initiatives, we would be looking to transform some of what we are doing into new initiatives in a way that maybe is cost neutral or minimizes any cost impact. Until we have an ending fund balance that is the appropriate size, I'm sort of tipping my hand that I don't believe that's 3%, because that's only, about 1 month of salary, so it doesn't give us much of a cushion. It wouldn't be my advice to add to restore. And I think restorations should come with an analysis process of their own. I think it's our job as staff to look at what the impacts of various cuts were and where, while we're living with those cuts, have we felt the most pressure, which doing that kind of analysis might allow us to, might change the prioritization that we make off the top of our head. So I think part of our obligation to ourselves as a cabinet, as a school district, but also to the board, is to share any sort of analysis that we can do like that, as you're considering any sort of prioritization of restore. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm interested in the 2 PE teachers from the 2 elementary schools those positions were cut. And they touched absolutely every student at the school. And they're probably beginning teachers at the lower end of the salary scale. So I would advocate for restoring those two positions.
And they are, one of the points of advice that came to me early on to the county office was, as you're resurrecting the fiscal health of the district, or working through watching that happen, make sure you don't lose sight of what were the cuts. And so I have compiled my own list to sort of just have in one source the cuts. Those cuts are on it. And once we get to having those conversations of the budgets that kind of develop, potentially adding things back, the list will be used at that point to share, almost likely, as I'm envisioning the process, with the budget committee. And then the budget committee would report back to the full board on how to proceed with that. But it was really important that we all, it was very important to me, after that advice from the county, that we not lose track of what was cut from the budget. Because it is easy, it doesn't necessarily spill out as you look at the budget itself. You have to have historical information of what was cut and what wasn't cut.
Well, I was happy about some of the cuts because they were cuts in waste. They were classrooms not full and things like that. Those things needed to be cut. But to take away something that is a positive influence on every student in the school, that's, thank you.
I'm thankful that we're at this point. So maybe next year we'll be in a positive position. So I'm really thankful that we're up to this point and moving forward. And I know that doing the cuts really hurts, everyone. But we had no choice but to do that. Now, I thank Mrs. Hargis as well, because she was kind of the main part of that, and our county office as well, to be there to help us. And just wanted to express my feelings about that, and be thankful for that.
It's tough to hold the line.
Right, right.
I mentioned here last year, that's not a fun process,
Right.
it's a painful process to
Right.
ever produce what you have, because you're talking about people most of the time. We've moved beyond that. We're new faces. I think that, in some ways, that helps. But I also appreciate that I know that I'm working with a district office team that remembers firsthand and also is confidently sticking to, we have a mission here first and foremost, which is to get this budget healthy. And so I know that if I have to say no, it's not in jeopardy of being overruled without serious consideration. And usually it's backed up, or I should say it has always been backed up at this point. But it's nice to know that the team is all moving in the same direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I do, real quick. I want to clarify something, Mr. Barth. The fiscal year 19-20, we're negative 3 million? Is that what, I couldn't see it from there.
That's how we started.
That's how we start this year. So then when we start next year, we should be at positive 552,000.
Yes.
And then when we start 2021, we should be positive 3 million.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry. So, right, so you're looking at the ending fund balance here.
Uh-huh.
So the revision shows us popping up to $552,000 positive. But the reason, like I said before, but just to make sure it was clear, we're still negative.
Yeah.
Because we can't meet the required 3%.
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay.
Okay. I just, we're good.
We're going the right way.
Yeah, we're going the right way. That's,
Are you suggesting you're overwhelmed by this?
oh, no, I'm just saying that it's great that even at the end of this year, we could be positive.
He's gonna
And
be a
then in 20 to
politician.
21, we
He's
can,
told me what he's going to be. I know
we
what
can
he's
be
going to
positive 3 million. I think that's amazing.
It's excellent.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a number of things. Internal fiscal austerity measures and fiscal restraint. And it's also the fact that we are living through an uptick in the willingness to fund education. So we're seeing growth in our revenue sources at the same time that we're seeing restraint on the expenditure side, which is the only way to recover from where we were. But it's a good point to be in, and we don't want to be in the right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to certify the district first interim report with negative certification.
Motion by Kingsley,
Second.
seconded by Sanchez. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Public hearing on developer fees collected as required by Education Code 66001B and 66006B. Or D and B, sorry. We recessed the meeting to go into
This is the meeting to go into public hearing. Yeah.
public hearing. I'll make a motion to recess, seconded by Sanchez. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Does the public have any questions on the developer fees?
What are they exactly?
There you go.
Development fees are collected on new construction in the district. So if you add onto your home, or if a new home is built, there's a fee, an impact fee levied on the square footage of that construction. And there's a rate for residential as well as a rate for commercial construction. And it's the fees that are collected are fairly restrictive. They are used for essentially facilities or other activities related to growth in the district. They cannot be used for routine maintenance. They have to be used for specifically identified types of maintenance, if they're used for maintenance, which can clearly be seen to connect to serving growth in the district in the continued provision of adequate education. We have a good fund that's been here for a long time. It does not have predictable income, and so it is used as available in the district for the needs that we have. And right now, we're looking to other sources of funds for many of the facilities activities that we have going on in the district.
So in other words, if you're building an extra room in your house, it's going to cost you an additional $3.79 per square foot to add that on. And that goes to the fund that we get so we can build schools. Yeah. Of course, the difference in classroom, the cost to build is,
Is that an increase from last year?
no.
The fee we're charging? No.
No, the fee per square foot.
That is not an increase.
It's not.
We will be bringing to the board early in 2020, information about the expected or predicted increase allowable. The state every other year can increase the fee limits for developer fees. And districts typically request that the board authorize that increase at the time that the state allows it. And so we rarely see any change between cycles. The only time that would happen though is if the district hadn't elected to do it in the prior year.
I
So
want to say
this
we
is the
have
same
not
as last
changed in
year.
about 5 years.
It appears to me that the district has stayed at one level for a couple of cycles.
Is that the going rate up there in the control belt?
Actually,
We're the-
Or what about like Mojave? I mean,
I think
'cause
Mojave's at
maybe we should raise it. I
three
mean, we should be
point
going rate.
something.
I will advocate that you should be with the going rate,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So when
It
you
is a
bring it-
board decision.
Yeah, so when you bring it up in,
Right.
January.
January, we'll bring it up in January. The state allocation board would vote on if to increase it and what the new amount will be, the statewide rate. Then they will vote on that in their March meeting. And now that I've said it, it might be the February meeting, but what we would want to do, we want to be prepared, so we will ask for authorization in advance to say, if it happens, we want to look to adopt that as well. There is a process of needing to notify everyone and certify what our new rate will be. It's collected by the county for us,
Right.
so we have to coordinate with everyone.
If you can get us the data, like what the going rate is for our area.
Absolutely, I can do that. We have to do a developer fee justification study, which will give you information
Okay.
about, which will prove not only to you, but to others, we hope, it could also refute that the district has a need for these funds. So that will be public evidence.
And we could use those kinds of funds for remodeling the old school to use.
It would depend on what the expected use of a renovated old school would be. If it's simply modernization or catching up on some deferred maintenance, that would not be allowed. You would have to show that there's a connection between making that investment, the program that will be there, and the reason why we had the fees available. So in this case, it would be the impact of any development, meaning bringing more children and more families into the community and stretching the capacity of the school.
Yeah, usually developer fees are for new construction, correct?
Yes, they're collected on new construction.
Just new.
Oh, you said use of?
New.
It is typical to use it on new construction because it's easier to prove that you're using it for the reason it was collected, growth. But if you're changing any kind of program that's related to, sometimes programs are changed because of expansion in a community or growth in a community. When you might modify the delivery of a program that serves more children at once. Music program could be transformed, and you might reconfigure your music facilities, for example, in a way that didn't require pressure on the space. So if the school site is really growing rapidly, and music is an essential part of the program at a school, and there's no longer capacity to support band in one period, it would make more sense at some point to expand the band program or something. The more easier example of intermittent incremental responses to growth is landing portable classrooms, portable classrooms, relocatable classrooms.
Thank you. Anyone from the public have any more questions?
Mario, what's the commercial per square foot rate right now?
61 cents?
Yeah, 61 cents.
61 cents a square foot?
61 cents per square foot.
So it's less than
Yes.
residential.
Because usually a business does not bring in children.
True.
And what was residential?
Residential is $3.79. And if you have the board packet, it is on page 62. Got it? Okay, no one else has any more questions? John?
Not a question, just the Roseman News would like to wish everyone a very holy, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and thank you for the opportunity to record and transmit your good work to the public, and I look forward to doing it again in 2020.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your positive reporting. It doesn't happen in some other newspapers that I won't mention.
Well, what you do is positive.
We try. Okay, we will go back into our regular meeting. At 8:54. Okay, I will make a motion to go back into a regular meeting. Need a second? Second by Adamson, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve 2018-2019 resolution 1920-06 of the governing board of the Southern Current Unified School District regarding annual accounting of Fund 25, the developer fees reported governing code 6601 D and B. 6606 B. I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution. Second. Seconded by Tansley, all in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye. Oh, again? Already? Oh, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:29.
I second it.
Motion by Morris, seconded by Sanchez, all in favor?
Aye.